I'm Teresa Sharpe. I'm here at Tattoo the Lou, tattooing all weekend, and we are going to do a little quick interview here with Kadee. Kadee, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Kadee Spangler. I tattoo out of Future Lazer Tiger in Ferndale, Michigan. Yeah.
So, tell me, I just recently got turned on to your work, and I heard that before you started tattooing, you had a lot of other jobs that had nothing to do with tattooing or artwork at all.
Yeah.
Tell me more about those. And like, how did you go from those to this?
I feel like most people don't know what they want to be when they grow up. And it's a journey for everyone. And figuring out that tattooing was what I wanted to do was just part of that journey. So
what jobs did you have prior to tattooing? Because I've heard they're really weird.
I worked at a ski resort for a little bit. And I don't ski or snowboard. Tried it once. Didn't go very well.
So you hated it, but you did it.
Yeah. It was my Empire Records job. Like, it was my perfect teenager job.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I owned a bakery for a little while.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You didn't bring any.
I've been a little busy.
All right. I'll let it go this time.
Yeah. I started doing that around the same time that I started tattooing, but then it got pretty difficult to juggle both of them, and it was no choice that tattooing was what I wanted to dedicate my life to.
So did you do artwork for, like, so you've been involved in, like, artistic stuff prior to jumping into tattooing?
Oh, yeah.
And so throughout the other careers, you were probably working on a lot of artwork just at home and things like that.
Yeah, I was always a weird art kid.
There was just this transition. So what was it that turned you on to tattooing? Like, what got you into that?
I had a lot of friends. I always hung out with people that were older than me, and they all had tattoos, and they were, I don't know, they were who I looked up to, and then I started getting tattooed, and honestly, I found Tattoo Snob, and it opened my eyes to what could be done with tattoos. It was more than just the guy down the road. There's people all across the world doing so many things.
Yeah,
and,
the styles are just all over the place nowadays.
And it's just morphing more all the time.
There's a lot. So how long have you been tattooing?
It'll be 6 years this fall.
6 years this fall.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a pretty quick turnaround. Like, just going from like ski resort to bakery owner to now 6 years.
You gotta make money. You don't make money in tattooing right away.
That's
not at all.
True. It is a journey. So technically, you're part of the new generation of the tattoo crews that are out nowadays, and you probably watched some tattoo shows and stuff like that as you were growing up. Do you think that influenced your choice to become a tattoo artist? Was that something that kind of opened your eyes to it?
Not really. I mean, I watched a little bit of it. I remember watching LA Ink because Kat Von D was a female in the industry, and that was inspiring in its own way, but the shows always seemed really inauthentic.
I get that question a lot as well. They're like, "Oh, did you love like Miami Ink and all that stuff when you were like learning it?" And it's like, I would have liked it if they'd have showed more tattoos.
Yeah.
But it was
less
more
sob
about
stories.
it was more about the story. Yeah, and that makes it hard. But so I feel totally the same about that. It's like, the shows are cool, but I think it's more for clients. Like, I think it's more interesting for clients than it is for artists.
And it's been helpful. It's made tattoos a little more accepted, I think.
Absolutely. I
think
it does help kind of bring it to a world of people that never really would have thought they wanted a tattoo because they didn't know what was available.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If anything, I think the one thing that was cool about the shows growing up was just seeing that it wasn't just tribal dragons and,
bikers.
Yeah, like it wasn't
scary
just like
stuff.
that kind of tattoo work anymore.
Yeah.
So, speaking of styles, I've looked through your work. You kind of tend to gravitate towards a lot of pop culture stuff, but how would you describe your style?
I really like stuff that makes people smile. And I do a lot of like old animated stuff, a lot of Disney and like old cartoons, and like punny stuff and food tattoos. And I like to bring a little more light into the world, I guess. I don't know, there's a lot of darkness and like even just associated with tattooing, like a lot of skulls and black and tough guy stuff. And it doesn't have to be that. It can be something that just makes you smile every day.
Yeah, I think tattooing is definitely like rooted in the like biker gang, like, you know, it's got that hardcore edge to it where it's like, oh, it's gotta be like skulls, it's gotta be an eagle carrying a skull or a wizard, you know.
And it can be that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, those things are still amazing and fun, but
it can be other things too.
Yeah, and that's I think the fun part about how tattooing is going now is, you know, it allows for artists that gravitate more towards like the lighter side of life to come in and do these things. There's more people out there that are looking for that too, because it has opened up to a wider audience. But it's, I mean, that stuff is really fun to do.
And I do a lot of stuff that's nostalgic to people, and I like that. I like things that made you happy as a kid. They probably still make you happy as an adult, and like that's just something that's going to make you happy forever, and that's a cool thing to hold on to. Those are the tattoos I've seen of your work. They're really fun. Thanks. Like, they're really fun to look through, and there's if you guys haven't, you should check her out. What's your Instagram? It's weird,
isn't it? Yeah, it is weird because it's not just your name. Like, you can search your name and you'll find her. But
it's Kadee Hydrated, so it's like dehydrated with a K-A in front of it. My name's spelled really weird.
Dehydrated.
Yeah, my name's spelled weird, and like you can never really do anything with it, like nickname wise. But one of my friends once said that he missed me, and he was so Kadee Hydrated, and I just kind of stuck to it, and then I started tattooing, and that's I can't go back now.
Definitely check out Kadee Hydrated. Kade Hydrated, right?
Yeah.
Not two E's.
Correct. One E.
Yes. So you can check that out and see some of the nostalgic. Like, take a walk down memory lane. I think I saw the Empire Records one really got me. That one hit me. I was like, oh my god, Empire Records. So let's talk about the shop, Future Lazer Tiger. They're fairly new. What, 2 years open or 1 year?
1 year. It'll be 1 year in August.
Yeah. So crazy.
Feels like longer.
When you work with Gary, you time travel.
Yes, that is so true. Yes.
Yeah, he's super fun though.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the shop? Like, who else there? What do you guys do?
Gary Morrill opened it. His Instagram's Rejiv. If you know his work, you know his work. It's very unique, and he wanted to create a space that was a bunch of weirdos doing different things, and he's very much done that, and it's a very happy little family. We've got Giri, me, Kyle Evans, Layla D'Amato, Kiri Kippel, and Johnny Andres, and we all do totally different stuff. And
it's a fun crew.
Yeah, it's pretty balanced, and just here to make good tattoos and have a good experience, a good happy experience.
Yeah, no, and with those guys you will. Like that, the group is just super fun, and the shop, what is the shop, like mint green, I think? Like, didn't he paint the whole thing?
Yep.
So it's so colorful.
As if Future Lazer Tiger wasn't enough of a draw.
If the name didn't give it away. The colors there are crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, and Gary loves, he's just a colorful guy in general, and so
absolutely.
He's attracted that, I think, in the crew that he's brought on. You guys are all like fun characters.
Yes.
So within the community, you guys you really try to reach out and become a part of the community. And so, like, do you guys have shows? I've heard that you guys have a lot of shows coming up where you're working to support the community and stuff like that?
Yeah, we just did. Three of us painted skateboards that were auctioned off for local charities through a restaurant. That went really well. We raised, I think, like $3,000, and it all went back into Detroit. And there were a bunch of other Detroit artists that did it as well, but we try and just give back when we can. It's important to do that, make the world a better place when you can.
Absolutely. And it doesn't take much time to sit down and spend a night painting and put something up that can raise money for your community. And coming up in a couple weeks, we're one of the hosts for Still Not Asking For It. And that's an event that is bringing awareness to victims of sexual assault and rape, which is super important right now, always, but it's really obviously it's
now.
Something that affects every community, and unfortunately lately in the tattoo community we've seen some instances where that has been an issue in shops, and it really does. It affects the community, and it affects the tattoo community, especially, and, these women, and these other people that
and
have
men.
become a part of it.
Everybody.
Men and women, everybody that have been affected by this. It's obviously it's good to get it out there and talk about it, make people aware about it, and also, like, talk about how to avoid these situations, how to, like, stop things like this from ever becoming a problem in the community and in your shop.
Change small to change big.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's really great. You're bringing awareness to that.
Yeah, we're having.
When is the event?
Yeah, we're having a flash day. It's June 10th, and there are shops across the world doing it on this day.
That's awesome.
They have a website, stillnotasking4it.gifts, and they have all the sites all the shops posted that are participating, so you can look there to see if there's one near you. And everything goes back to a charity. There's a variety of charities every shop got to pick their own. And some people are having raffle prizes and merch and all sorts of stuff just to get tattooed and give back and support those that need it.
Yeah, get some awareness out there, help your communities, help victims of these situations. Yeah. That's really great. So June 10th is that. Still not asking for it. You guys will be having it at your shop, Future Lazer Tiger, in
Ferndale, Michigan. Yep.
And when do we get to see the flash sheet that you're putting up?
I don't know. Soon? Soon, hopefully.
Do you have great ideas for it?
Yes.
Do you have pop culture references that are going to come into this one?
I'm going to do a little bit. It's kind of hard because we want to do stuff that is related to the event, but you don't want a tattoo that you look at and say, oh, yes, that reminds me of sexual assault. Like, that's really what we're trying to get away from at this point.
You're trying to find things that are, like, awareness-y, but also fun and not depressing.
Probably a lot of, like, empowerment-type symbols and floral stuff and, I don't know, pretty stuff. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I've been really busy.
You've been lying to me this whole time.
We're getting there. They're brewing.
Like most artists, I have a feeling we'll see the flash sheet maybe about a 24-hour before the day. Maybe?
Hopefully within a week of the event. That's my plan.
That's a good goal.
I've been working on a charity comic with some people for Flint, and that's due next week too.
Wow,
so got a lot.
You have a lot of charity events going on. Yeah. But that's really great. That's really great that you take the time to do that stuff, because I think that we could all put in a little bit more time for that stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
So, moving away from charity stuff, let's talk about artists that you're inspired by.
Oh, there's so many. This was the hardest thing to prepare for because there are so many amazing.
Write up a list.
I had it, but
this is like thanking the Academy. You'd like to thank the Academy.
God. Yeah. Most recently, I worked Literary Ink a couple months ago, which was amazing.
And I've heard nothing but good things about that show.
Yeah, and I met a lot of lady tattooers there that were so inspiring. Ebony Mellowship, Chelsea Hamilton, Betsy Butler, Jennifer Edge put it on. She did a beautiful thing. It was one of the best shows I'd worked in a long time. And I made this group of friends instantly, that I'm inspired by every day to work harder. There's a lot of other great lady tattooers out there. I like to support the women in this world because we've been fighting for it, and there's a lot of great ones. Kelly McGrath, Stabby Gabby.
Stabby Gabby's great.
Yeah.
Love her work.
Yep, she's awesome. There's so many. I could go on all day.
Is there anybody that's, like, particularly when you're having a hard time, like, coming up with ideas or you're just not sure where to go, is there anybody that you really look into?
I just peruse my Instagram feed and I get it from across the board, or I watch a lot of Disney movies. I always go back to Disney.
That's awesome.
They're a great inspiration for sure.
I've been finding myself gravitating more towards illustrative artists and guys that are not in the tattoo industry for inspiration. Yeah. More recently, just because I just don't want to borrow from other tattoos as much. It's like I want to find inspiration in other things now.
For sure.
But it's about doing the research sometimes. Like following those little threads back to where they came from.
Yeah, there's a bunch of. I found myself really drawn to I don't know what this style of art would be called, but like it reminds me a lot of Mary Blair, who was an old she worked for Disney a long time ago, and she like came up with It's a Small World, so like that sort of like blocky color stuff. And I've been following a lot of artists that do that, and I can't think of any of their names at this time. Maybe I'll tag them in a post later. I don't know, but a lot of stuff like that. And I think maybe because I like solid saturation and things, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I like a lot of that kind of stuff. Been real into Lance Inkwell lately. He is an illustrator I think he's in Colorado, and you can tell how much he studies animation, like as an entire form, and his drawings are really cool. I just bought an original from him.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like I said, finding some inspirations outside of the community I think it brings a fresh perspective to the tattoos that you start drawing, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of bringing some attention to other artists, are there some up-and-coming artists that you know of that maybe the wide world of Instagram does not know of that you would like to share with us?
I tried to figure out some of those last night too. My best friend Kyle, I think, is doing some really cool stuff. His Instagram's Kyle Vans Tattoo. He works with me at Future Lazer Tiger. He does some really weird shit. It's really cool, very unique. My friend Tony, Sharktooth Tony, he's just such a good person. He makes beautiful botanical stuff and lots of cool nature stuff. Gary Gerhardt, he's in Frederick, Maryland, right?
Is that his Instagram?
GG Tattoos.
GG Tattoos.
Yeah. He is so clever. Every time I see him post a new drawing, you know, he's a traditional tattooer, but he's doing stuff that I've never seen, and it's still traditional, and I feel like that's so impressive because traditional is such an old...
It's a lot of like revisiting similar, like the themes kind of just continue to happen in traditional tattooing, which, you know, obviously like there's just always going to be a love for that. So it's great if you can adapt that style and do it the best of its, you know, what and it's supposed to be.
So
but
clever.
It is fun to see somebody take it and really
neat stuff.
Bring like a new voice to it. But still run in that traditional vein. So that's great, because I think what people love about Tattoo Snob is you get to find a lot of new artists all the time. Like they're always bringing new guys to my attention. That's one of the reasons I follow Tattoo Snob is for the amount of new artists that they bring to my attention. And so I'm glad we got to talk a little bit about some of your favorite new guys that are coming on the scene. So for anybody else that's up and coming, what advice would you give somebody that's interested in becoming a tattoo artist?
If you're not prepared to put everything you have into it, don't do it. I don't mean that in a negative way. I really don't, because tattooing is the best job in the world. But it's a lot of work. You don't make money quickly. You don't just trace stuff and it appears on skin. You put a lot of work into it, and it's not easy, and it is very time consuming. And if you're not going to do it with everything you've got, there are people who will, and leave it to them. Honestly.
Was it hard for you to find an apprenticeship when you looked into it?
It was hard to find one that stuck. I started in Flint, Michigan, and the first shop that I went to did not stay open throughout my apprenticeship for various reasons. And that took me about a year to find another one, but once I got a taste, I think really wanted in.
That's a really good story to share, because a lot of people think it's just like, oh, you find a shop and you get an apprenticeship and you're good, or you find somebody that's willing to show you how to use a machine and you're solid. But I think finding an apprenticeship can be a really big struggle sometimes. Finding a shop not only that's willing to take you on, but a shop that is worth learning from can be really hard, because like the first place I ever walked into, I'm so glad that I didn't end up apprenticing there. I ended up at Studio 13 apprenticing instead, and it was way better situation, you know, but you know, like, same thing. It's like the first shop you walk into, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, like, a piece of advice for guys that are, anybody that's looking to get into this industry, you can't give up with the first, you know, bump in the road. And that could be, like, taking a year to find an apprenticeship. You know, taking a year, you know, to find somebody that's worth learning from, that's willing to teach you, that has, you know, a good studio to be in, you know.
And also isn't going to, like, abuse or assault you as an apprentice. I mean, that was the way of it, but I've talked to a lot of people that, especially females, that had a really rough apprenticeship because it was so hard to get into.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of people that are getting into it, they're just so excited to be a part of the tattoo industry and, like, get their first machine and start tattooing that you like start to put up with a lot of things. Yeah. And you think that you have to because it's the first place that took you in. Right. But another piece of advice is, like, if you don't feel comfortable or if you don't feel safe somewhere or if you don't feel like safe in a lot of forms, not just like personally safe, but like safe, like they're using clean needles or they're
that's important.
They're mopping the floors at night. Like, if they're not doing those basic things, like, really look at where you're at. And sometimes an apprenticeship means moving to a different city. Sometimes it means, you know,
if you want it, you gotta fight for it.
You really do.
That's, I guess, the baseline of that advice. Is
it's a long journey to get here to be at this type of convention tattooing, and, you know, obviously you spend 6 years earning it, but it does get there if you put everything in. Yeah,
and then you keep going.
Yeah.
Never stops.
No.
Never stops. If you've stopped learning, then
you would think that at some point it gets easy and you just show up and you tattoo, but, like, man. Nope. Even, like, Friday here, I was, like, stressed out. I'm like, oh my god, I have this drawing. Like, the pressure's still on every day. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's good, though. Pressure.
It is.
Pressure makes diamonds, I was told earlier this week when I was stressed. Yeah.
And then you, like, flip that guy off and you're like, whatever.
A little bit. Yeah.
So, what else do you have planned for 2018? What do you got coming up? Obviously you have the show or the flash show coming up June 10th, but do you have any personal goals that you're trying to hit this year? Or?
Really, I don't set a lot of goals, honestly. I just try and get everything done that I want to do, however long it takes. I'm going to California for the first time this summer. I'll be guesting near LA. I'm going to Disneyland, which is a crucial thing in my life. I really like going to Disney.
Like the inspiration there. You gotta go do some research. So it's basically a business expense,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. And then I take a trip every year through Chicago and Minneapolis and northern Michigan. I have a lot of friends through that route.
Are you going to be guest spotting through there? Yep. So what's the shop in California?
I'll be at Show Pigeon.
Show Pigeon, that's great.
Yep.
Love that name.
Yep. And then Chicago, I'll be at Timeless Tattoos. Minneapolis, I will either be at Shark Tooth or B Ink. I'm not sure yet. And then I'll be at Sacred in Marquette.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what months are this happening? When's California?
California is in July, and then the other trip is end of August, early September.
Perfect.
I don't have the dates finalized yet.
But that'll go up on the Instagram soon.
Yes.
Nice. So for anybody that's wanting to catch some tattoos from Kadee while she's out traveling, she'll be in California in June?
July.
California in July at
Show Pigeon,
which is a great name for a shop.
Yep.
And then August, September, you'll be in the Midwest, kind of Chicago, Minneapolis area. Yep. At 3 different shops.
Yes.
And that was, the first one was
Timeless Tattoos in Chicago. Either
Shark Tooth or B Ink.
Yep.
And then
Sacred Studio in Marquette.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. You guys should definitely check those shops out.
Yes,
I'm sure they have a group of amazing artists that work at those places as well. And check Kadee out. Yeah. Give her a follow. Look at her work. Yeah. Be inspired. Take a walk down memory lane.
Yeah. Stop taking stuff so seriously. Just smile at something today. Yeah.
And if you haven't, check out Future Lazer Tiger as well, because all the guys that work there are also amazing. Yeah. I had the pleasure of working with Gary for a couple of years. And that dude took me to my first convention ever. Did he tell you that?
No.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Down in Miami.
Oh. That's great.
11 years ago.
That's wild. He has not told me that.
Yeah.
I'll have to get a story later.
Oh yeah, he's got plenty.
I'm sure. I've heard many of them just from his own life.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day's an adventure with Kadee.
But he's great. He's the best weird dad around. He's just the shop dad.
Yeah. He's great.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions I have.